Hey, everybody. Welcome to Sama, Seattle Circuit Music and Art. We're in Seattle, hence the name. My name is Derek Mazzoni. Thanks for being here. Hope you're doing okay. I hope you're surviving. We're still in a pandemic. It's been a fascinating time, obviously, to say the least. And it's also been really interesting because through this program, I've been able to connect with people all over the world, be able to share their music, their stories, their ideas. Sometimes it's people that I've met before, or sometimes it's an ensemble or a band or an artist that I've known for a little bit, such as today or tonight, wherever you may be. From Kiev, Ukraine, Dakh Daughters. I had them on my show on KEXP Wopop a little while ago, 2019. We had an in studio. They played at a great venue here. God, you've been talking about venues, just pulling my heartstrings, called Nectar. And I saw them first in New York City at the Copacabana when they were there as part of the showcase for the amazing Global Fest in January. That was our first meeting. I was like, these is really interesting and powerful and poignant and theatrical. And they have a new record out, just came out last week, called Makeup. And I'm going to play you a video from that. And then we're going to meet the band and talk about life and things like that. Thanks for being here. This is Sama.
No more be grieved at that which has done. Roses have thorns and silver fountains mud. Clouds and the cliffs stain both moon and sun. And lonesome can careless and sweetest bud. No more be grieved at that which has done. Roses have thorns and silver fountains mud. Clouds and the cliffs stain both moon and sun. And lonesome can careless and sweet fantastično для вас. Росте барвіночко зелененький, поклонися молоденька до своєї неньки. Mr. Lover, I am a lover, I'm a baby ninja. What I gotta make it, I'm gonna take it. Cause I'm on and I'm up and I am fantastic.
That was awesome, to say the least. Hey, Dakh Daughters.
Hello,
Hello,
world.
Derek. Hello.
Hi,
No, this
Derek.
is
Hi,
just
Seattle, United States, Ukraine, world, planet Earth. Hello.
we're here. We're in our own little places, but we're all at the same time on the world. Isn't technology amazing? Isn't this like just the
Absolutely
most
wonderful.
insane time? Thanks for being there here. Thanks for showing up.
Thank you so
Um,
much for inviting us. Thanks. That's cool.
thank you. Uh, that was interesting because that was a obviously a online performance, and we're going to be playing something from a live performance. But I wanted to just say, well done. That you pulled that off so well. Like the energy that one can find in your live performance is there. Just on these screens. And I'm curious because this is coming up as part of a conversation with a lot of artists. Is like, what the hell am I doing here right now? Like, I'm used to having an audience. I'm used to having a theater, a stage. What can you talk a little bit about like what was the mindset with that? First of all, let me be right. This is Anna, Roslana, Tanya, and Zoe. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
The world says hi. So tell me, like, what was the thing in your head where it was like, okay, we're gonna do this with just cameras watching. But you're actresses, so it's not that hard. You're on set, but it was more I don't know. Tell me. Talk to me.
It all started with we made this new show, Makeup,
Mhm.
like also the basis of this new album which we released, and just recently before the quarantine started. And then when it started, we decided, Vlad, our art director and our director, he decided to try something new in the digital world. So we started to do little digital readings. Yeah, like it was called the degustation of the literature.
Books.
It was
Mhm.
like the pieces of different books and poetry in very beautiful artistic I don't know, direction. Yeah. So, and we started training ourselves for the digital performing like this. And then we had also this very cool proposition from a German theatrical festival about this art, digital, theatrical, musical
Mhm.
collaboration. And we decided all together that it's going to be this new show, The Makeup. So we rented a cool space in Kyiv with all those cameras and sound and all the technical parts, and just rehearsed it. And Vlad just did some direction, like digital direction this time, and it all worked out. And it was like so fun because it was like a big job, big project after the big break, during the quarantine.
Yeah.
So like super happy. You
For
can see
us, it was very exciting to be in a new part of Kiev. It was like to go in tour somewhere. It was
With
fun.
your telephone, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can do everything. So let's talk about Kiev. Let's talk about Ukraine. What's life been like under the pandemic as human beings and also as artists?
I think in Ukraine now what we have it much more funny than in Europe or in America, because any possibility to have some concert or something live in, let it be 50%, not much, but we made it. We took anything from life to make.
And we
something
also
live.
have some festivals, like online and offline. Also, we had one festival, Google Fest,
Mhm.
which was born in Dakh theater, where we
Mhm.
now can see. And now this festival have trip all over the Ukraine, and we like one of the most important train that comes through the old Ukraine, and we also had some performances. So we are happy to have some shows, and even now tomorrow we will have like our show in a prize music awards where you are also Derek, like
Yeah, I had no idea that
person. And thank you very much for Agapop on KXP Radio for that.
Yeah.
It's like
anytime. You guys are great. And I didn't know like We'll talk about this a little bit more later, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
music scene in Ukraine is it's really good. You know, the stuff that Uprise sent me was like, I had no idea that there was like such breadth and depth, because most people in the West, when they think of Ukraine, they think of like, the scandals, the revolutions, all the things that are going. Obviously, with the last administration here, Ukraine came up a lot in people's minds, and they were like, "What is this place? Where is this place?" So it was, this is when you and I first met. This was not part of the conversation. So suddenly, this country and your identity is now part of a global conversation from a place, from a country that wasn't even a country, a few decades ago. So suddenly, from like part of the Soviet Union. This is ancient, of course, but like, boom. Okay, what are we talking about here? What is this place? What's going on there? You've got this comedian as prime minister. Like, what the hell is happening here? And then you've got this, but you're artists, so you're presenting, the depth, the complexity of your country beyond borders. You're presenting the history. Like when I was going deeper into the music and your story and everything, there are ancient poets, like ancient, but like, Ivan Franco and others. It's like, wait, there's story here of claiming space, I like to call this. Like, we have a language, we have a culture. Yes, our neighbors are difficult, and yes, they swallowed us. As you know, I'm Polish, and for hundreds of years Poland wasn't a country. It was part of Russia or Austria-Hungary. So it's interesting when you're like part of a story that goes, from nothing to big to small again. It kind of screws with your head a little bit, but it's also the human story. I mean, I
Yes,
think.
but you know that it goes not from nothing, but it goes like from very, very ancient civilization of the Slavic world, which was called Kievan Rus.
Mm-hmm.
All the Slavic cultures, countries started from there, like a long, long time ago. And then, of course, the story of Ukraine is very interesting with that, just the same as the story of Poland, probably. That it was a beautiful country, which often was like situated between two big empires, like Russian Empire from one side and Austro-Hungarian or Polish Empire from the other
Yeah.
side. And we even have the period in our history which is called like the ruins, really the ruins, when Ukraine was like splitted in two parts, where the big river Dnipro goes, and like the eastern part came to Russian Empire, and then the western came to Austro-Hungarian and Polish Empire. But so this is very important quest and a sense of Ukrainian artistic creation of all times, and also social movement, the search of the freedom, the fight for this freedom, and yeah, and we're going through and through this, but it's like one of the
Yeah.
most important things in the world.
Yeah. But it's happening now. Like, there's action happening right now. I don't want to get overly political or geopolitical, but it's like, this isn't like, abstract. This stuff is happening right
Right,
now.
that's true. And
No.
all what we always want is just the independence, the independent, happy life with all those cool things which we can share with the world. For example, one of those things is totally culture, right? And
Yeah.
like cultural and artistic creation.
And also, I think people in Ukraine now looking for these senses. Who we are, like a nation. Are we care about some national, how to say, questions, or we don't care about it, and it's time to move on? Well,
Yeah. It does. It does. I have two daughters, and it comes up a conversation. I talk like, let me tell you about communism, and they're like, what? It's like, okay, that's a whole other story. But let's go into the music right now, because the new record just came out, Makeup, and it's lovely. And I want to now play. This is from an online performance. This is Dakh Daughters on Sama, Makeup.
sharp knife. It is my new life. I put my makeup on. I take my microphone. Hello. I put my makeup on. My makeup is my baby, baby. Oh, makeup, makeup, makeup. Mama, make it up, make up, make up, make up. Mama, make it up, make up, make up, make up. Mama, make it up, make up, make up, make up. Mama, make it up. Я тянула маску, выпнула краску, разъебала связки, я потом пляску. Я така вся мила, на обличчя біла, в біленьких колготках і у странних шмотках. Make-up, make-up, make-up. Mama, make-up, 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 make-up. Mama, make it make up, make up, make up. Mama, make it up, make up, make up, make up. Mama, make it up, make up, make up, make up. Mama, make it up, make up, make up, make up. Ladies and gentlemen, Amen and Harry. Are you ready? Whoop, whoop. Oh, oh, oh. Are you? Are you? Whoa, whoa. Are you ready for makeup? Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
What
Uh, tell me about that song.
It's the cover song of the new album, which is called Makeup, and
Mhm.
the same name has the theatrical performance. And it's about the spirit of this of these works, this album and this theatrical show. It's hard to if you will try to like translate the text, you will see that like they are just little jokes, or they don't have any sense at all, or they have like very, very strange fun sense. But the main thing which like is universally globally understood about this artwork, that it's the spirit of this creation, that is going to be like very theatrical, very grotesque somewhere, but maybe very intimate somewhere else, and very like big and very expressive. It's like very expressionistic theater, musical theater, something
Okay.
like that.
And one of the main idea of the performance makeup, it is like all the show, it is our backstage. We are girls, they just joke, have fun, sometimes sad stories, sometimes funny stories. And then Dakh start to play
Mm-hmm.
a new song from album Alambari,
Mm-hmm.
and we start to make up of Dakh daughters. And we start to play Roses. It's like the beginning of the show, but at least it's the end.
Okay.
And by the way, the rehearsing of it all was just made just right here in Dakh Theater in Kyiv, under the art direction of the Vlad Troitsky. And if later, maybe if you will put on our artwork, which is called Roses Donbass, but not the version from the show, but the version from which is like the official video with the live
Yeah.
sound. You will see that it is also made in here in our alma mater, and it is our first video work. So it's funny.
Nice. You guys have some spirit there. It's kind of like, okay, this is a theater. We're going to stay close to it, and we're going to represent it, which is beautiful. But it's also interesting that Dakh, now you are representing, this is the stuff we talked about at KXP, but you're representing this culture. This is like the first touch that people are having of um, your country. And it's there's depth there. It's not like, hey, we're a band, we're playing these songs, I love you, you love me, etc. You guys are going deep into this, and it's interesting because it's nobody gets lost, and the complexity of your culture and your history is evident in that. And I'm curious how this is received. Let's go back into a beautiful time when you got on a plane and flew to a place, and there were Ukrainians there,
Mm.
because there's a lot of Ukrainians in the world. How are you received, welcomed? What's that process like when you're in wherever, Germany, U.S., Brazil, and a bunch of Ukrainians are there? It's like, what's that like for you guys?
At first, we need to tell that we have our art father, art director,
Like the
and,
godfather,
yeah, yeah,
Okay, I want to meet him. You
teacher,
know, we have to have a conversation.
teacher, like, and
Does he have a pinky ring?
the big person.
Yeah.
And when you see him, you have to like kiss his
yeah.
hand.
Really? Okay, I'll bring a gift.
Vladislav Troitsky that made Dakh, and after how to say, a lot of projects
Okay.
was born.
I'm impressed. I mean, what I've seen, everything, it was like, okay.
Okay.
And as we said before, I'd love for him to come and visit, and like, let's talk about it, because it's a powerful piece. But what is that like for when you travel and you meet the Ukrainians? Like, how are they receiving your work?
Before the daughters start to make a show, we were actresses, and we were traveling with theater Dakh in a tour. The first tour was in France, it seems to me, and before was Poland also. And before Ruslana,
Austria-Hungary.
yeah. And England also.
Yeah, we were in England,
So
and it's like we are together like around 18 years.
Yes.
So
Okay. Wow.
We are
sorry,
all
before
girls.
that daughters,
And you still like each other?
and we still
We live
live with each other.
we start to love all the time.
Yeah. But
One
that's a long.
of the very interesting point of Vlad Troitsky, because under his roof,
Mhm.
if people want to create, then they can do it.
Okay.
Because you know that Dakh means the roof, right? You knew
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
But
The roof
about
theater.
the Ukrainian audience, so as the girls said, we are meeting the audience all over the world for a long time with
Mhm.
our beautiful theater, with our beautiful theatrical troupe, and then for 8 years as Dahdotas also. When we meet Ukrainian people in the other countries of the world, we are extremely happy to see them, and they also are extremely happy to see us. Of course, in States and in Canada, for example, we met a lot of Ukrainian people, but also we're meeting them all over the other countries, like in Europe, somewhere in France, for example, or Germany, or like we can go to Latin America, to Brazil, and meet there some Ukrainian. But what is interesting about our band that we are very universal in a good way. So when we go to some country, we have like the three quarters are with our sorry, something happens with my language, something broke down. So
That's okay.
so I mean that the half of the people, or maybe sometimes even 3 quarters, are of those people who are living in this country,
Mhm.
right? And then plus the half or the quarter of those people who are also Ukrainians who are living in this country. And we're like very, very happy about this because we're so happy to communicate with the language of our art, music, and theater with universal public all over the world. That's why also we have so many international text works like lyrics, different languages, and we're subtitling everything when we're having the full concert and
Hmm.
theater performance. So yeah, so it's just the level of the communication with a modern world person. But of course, we're like always so super happy to meet more
Okay.
Ukraine.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
us, of course, it is very important. It is very responsible to represent our country all over the world. And of course, we made a lot of interview about war, about our life, about our art, about that we are separate of Russia, that we have our
Yeah.
own
Yeah.
government. And sometimes it's like, wow, we think it's colony of Russia. So now Ukraine start to be on the world map.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
For us, it is very, very important.
I think it's also. I want to go to the next one, but I just want to kind of like seed this with you guys for a little bit. Let's take Brazil as an example. Brazil has been a country for a long time, but it didn't. Nobody really knew anything about Brazil until soccer, Pele and others. But music,
Yeah.
music really became the card for Brazil. And then now you have a Brazilian artist playing somewhere. Maybe 10% of the people will be Brazilian, but most of the time it's like everybody else because they fall in love with the music and they want to know more about it. And you're kind of in that place to me where it's like, hey, wait a second, I want to go check this out. I know nothing about Ukraine, maybe dumplings, but this music is opening my heart and want me to go find that out. So let's talk more about that a little bit. But right now, I want to play something off the new record, Makeup. This is Gala.
Я вас, Галю, згадував сьогодні. Хотілось мені вас побачити. Все здавалося, що ви самотні. І десь далеко плачете. Плачете, плачете, десь далеко плачете, 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 десь далеко плачете, 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 десь далеко плачете, 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 десь далеко плачете. Смішно це, але мені так хочеться. Про якесь майбутнє із вами балакати. Дивитися, як день квітневий точиться. А може й плакати. Плакати, плакати, десь далеко плакати, 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 десь далеко
Okay. I
Well,
love
what?
that. I love that. Does it always start with we're going to do a theater performance and out of that comes a record?
No, not always. No, not necessarily.
Okay.
It can be just. It can be the opposite thing. Also, it can be the music first and then the theatrical performance. But Uh, but lately, we're trying to do something new all the time. If we're doing the new performance, we're trying to reflect the special atmosphere and thoughts in new music. So this time, yes, it was all together. The working on the theater performance, on drama texts, and on music and songs at the same moment.
Okay. Um, this is going to be a strange question, but I know theater people, I know music people.
How crazy!
Do you guys have lives?
Lives?
Yeah. Is it
All
like, is it just this? Is it like you're at the theater? You know, like some people in theaters, like that's all they do. And sometimes you sit and you have a conversation about something else, and they just look at you kind of funny, like, I don't know how to talk about anything else but this. So, you guys been doing this for 18 years. I'm not saying you're insane or anything like that, but I'm just curious is like, how does somebody who does something like that for 18 years, what is your life like? Like, what's because this is all encompassing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that seems to be going on there. So I'm just wondering, is there what other things? What are you into? What are you guys into? Like, if you don't mind me asking, it's just
all,
curious. Or do I
okay.
sound insane even asking that? Like, do we understand each other and trying to convey that?
All our lives are around Dakh projects.
Okay,
It's so much projects, to be honest, and also before the pandemic situation, 8 years we are traveling, totally traveling with Dakh daughters. So
I
it's
know, I
our
know.
only the one our life, and
I'm
also our families, children, and everything,
And
you're.
every
and everything.
This is the world. And but is it with the prize festival and everything? And I've just gone deeper into. I want to visit. I want to go. I'll make a stop to Poland, and of course, but if I'm curious what that scene is like, because right now I'm in Seattle, and Seattle's its own particular culture, and it's a big music city. In the '90s, especially, it was huge. But even now, there's really cool stuff there, and it becomes a clique. Like everybody knows each other, everybody works together, everybody kind of like it's the thing, and it's hard to get into that clique. Like if you're not part of it, it's like it's hard to kind of like step in. It's hard to meet a new girlfriend or boyfriend or like introduce them. They're like, I don't know who this person is. He's not part of our group. What's that like for you guys? Is that like that, or is it more loose and open? Is the scene in transition? Are there more artists and new stuff coming up, or is it like under one roof, shall we say, Doc?
No, of course not. Now it's a lot after the revolution of dignity. Here is like art boom, not only music, it's theater, it's art, it's sculpture, it's everything. Like
Okay.
mm, reboom, I don't know, rebabbing, something like
Reborn.
So it
reborn,
it feels like that. There's a lot of energy. So this is just the beginning.
air of
Yes, yes.
freedom,
Okay.
really, really, you can feel it.
Thank you for answering that question because I know I was like, trying to figure it out, but that's beautiful because it's like, and it has to be that kind of. I was talking to somebody just recently about that. I'm spacing on their name, but like, anytime there's this pressure, amazing art happens. Like right now, the stuff coming out of the United States is some of the best film, television, art, music that I've ever heard because it was like it's in a pressure cooker, and I'm curious to see. And the things that I'm hearing and the things that I'm seeing coming from Ukraine are really beautiful, and I wanted to ask you just one more question before we go to the next song. Is there support for this? Because often in this kind of situation, either you have large companies come in and pay artists, but that gets kind of funky. Is there support from the government? We just saw that video that there was the Ukraine Export organization or institution. Is there support for you when you will go out and play? And is there financial, logistical support for you to share your work?
Before the revolution of dignity, here is in Ukraine, it was very hard with this stuff, only government I don't know, relationships between different countries, China and Ukraine. Some ensemble from Ukraine go to China, something like that, you know.
Hmm.
But now we have like Ukrainian foundation that gives money for different projects, and this is really, really big specter of propositions, you know.
Okay. Is it hard to get, or is it relatively easy?
It's hard to get because you must to manage yourself, because we don't have some special management groups that can serve you, you know, because here is not so industry like in America, of course. So you must manage yourself, you must to teach, to learn everything by yourself. So this is a bit hard, for example, but some people who make different
Scholarships.
scholarships
Got
like
it. Got it.
all,
Got it.
all over the world. We have also people like that here. Yes.
Okay.
So that's why almostly all projects of Dakh with the supporting of UKF, Ukrainian Culture Foundation.
Okay.
It's like grant programs about what Ruslana is telling, which and also the other organization like this, which is called Ukrainian Institute.
Mm-hmm.
So they were created after the Revolution of the Dignity, and they are doing this. They like the cultural fundraising and cultural grants for the cultural projects. And speaking about the quarantine, like Ukrainian art industry wasn't so prepared for this because, like, for example, we don't have any support, like extra quarantine support from the government.
From government,
right? Yeah,
yes.
like
Mhm.
if, for example, the first year when like all shows and everything was cancelled,
Hmm.
maybe some small groups in some big government theaters like Opera House and stuff like this, but also probably some very small grants for very little amount of people. So the quarantine and the whole this pandemic situation is very stressful for Ukrainian art industry, especially for whole Ukrainian economics and all the fields of business and everything, but especially for the arts and culture too. But you know, we're doing this like this with our own powers for so many
Yeah.
years. We just go on.
Yeah. No, you have to, and you can't let it stop. Okay, let's go to the next song. This is great, and thank you for sharing.
Thank
Thank
you.
I really appreciate that. So I'm gonna play "I Want," and this is from the digital show because I as I was looking at it, I was like, I want to showcase how this is even evolving beyond the stage.
Я хочу. I want. Я хочу. I want. Я хочу. Я хочу. Я хочу все слів нових. Нових ідей. Пісень нових. Я хочу кожен час нового життя. Горіть палать, в екстазі почуття. Я хочу ідей нових, слів нових, пісень нових. Я хочу кожен час. Років нових. Я хочу. Я хочу. I want. No. When. Yes. Why? Because. What? No. When. Yes. Why? Because. What? When. Yes. Why? Because. When. Yes. Why? Because. What? No. When. Yes. Why? Because. I want, but I won't. I want, but I will not. 'Cause I wanna. Хочеться далі. Хочу в Австралію. Виберу на мапі найсайваніший острів. Перекинусь собою віки. Вакханалії. Базі. Острів.
What? No. When? Yes. Why? Because. What? No. When? Yes. Why? Because. What? No. When? Yes. Why?
Because. Ви хочете? Чого? Ані трішечки не хочете? Ну, не хочете, як хочете.
I love that song.
And you want,
Thank you.
Derek, you want.
She's як це? Я мам.
Super.
People are like, what are you saying? Uh, it's just so good. It's and I'm not just saying like, oh, but it's a really nice, powerful piece, and the fact that you're acting, it just adds so much to that performance. And as I was saying before, a lot of artists that I'm working on now with Sama, they still want to be on stage. They still want to have that performance. And it's just like, as I was watching these things, it's like, you got it. You're in there. You're right in the camera, and we're really like speaking to that audience. And this sucks. I'd rather have you in the studio and talking to you right here and there, but it's okay because you can create work like that. And there's an intimacy, there's no way you could be like this freaking close to somebody, on stage. It would be like, get the hell away from me, you freak. But here you can, and it's a really interesting way to present your art and present your work to other people. And the fact that you're all women and from Ukraine and can speak to other women like this. There's writings in your early work where it's like, look, it's really interesting to be a Ukrainian woman in Europe right now, and like how we're being perceived and how is Ukraine being perceived. There's a crap load of baggage, Eastern European, Slavs, and like there's this like, as somebody who travels the world a lot when I could, this is just a bizarre pecking order. Of course, white men on top, and then you work your way down, and then the real subplots within that. And for you to actually present work like that, like, let me address this as an artist in a way that transcends writing about it or even just creating cinema. There's just an intimacy in that, and that being conveyed in that video really spoke to me and spoke to especially women that I've showed videos to. It's just like, this is really strong work. This really, there's a complexity to that message. If you understand what I mean, they're like that can only be translated in that kind of setting where it's just artist to audience as close as possible for them to get it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and probably also you mean this power, right? The big power, the expression, which is like so big and so close.
It's the point that we want to share with the man, this energy.
Yeah. That line, I want to choose the loneliest island on the map. That just like, it's like,
yes.
That's right. It's because what you were saying, that because like for a moment, for now, there is a lot of, maybe not so much, but there are some stereotypes and cliche about Ukraine, which are sometimes not so cool,
No, they suck. They're horrific.
Yeah, okay,
just like,
be frank.
it's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? No.
Like the Chernobyl, and then I don't know, the Derek. You're going.
I'm right here. I'm here. Hold on a second. I have to do one quick thing, and we are back. Hello.
Whoa, hello.
Second camera.
The light and the Derek.
Yeah.
So, and that's it. But what we are trying to do in our artistic experience, our creation, all of our music and the performances, it reflects it all. It's like the truthful history of Ukraine, of the ancient times and the modern times, what we're going through right now. It always is, reflected in our music, in our shows, we're those kind of artists who are, we don't do anything like on purpose just because it's cool, or I don't know, epitaph or something like this, to do it in the moment because it will be like sharp. But some very meaningful and big and important questions of our nation, country, world, time, history, the events which are happening, we are reflecting, we're putting them into the art, and to share it with the people of the world.
And succeeding. It's good work, and it's so good that it translates language, culture, background, etc. So as artists, bravo, you're succeeding.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go now to 36, and tell me about the song first, if you can.
Yeah, it's a short. This is the story of one of us, Natalka Bida. It's the story that she had 36 years old when she first time talked with her mother. And it was in Paris, some sunrise, when we were in Tour de France.
Okay, perfect. Here it is.
Ой.
Маман.
Mom,
Mother.
mom,
Мамуля.
mama.
When I was 37 and I have talked to my mama, we met the sunrise in Paris. When
як людина, це така собі машина.
One, two, three. Маса м'яса, купа нервів. Часом їсть, а часом спить.
Бо людина, як людина, від усього половина.
Місяць в торбі, дуб на горбі. Дух, що тіло рве і тре.
А іще вона окрема і самотня, і проблемна.
Хоче жити, може бути, тільки з ким-небудь удвох.
Three,
That's beautiful work. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you for all your kind words. Thank you very much.
Oh, a little technical difficulty. It's magic. We're gonna fix this thing. As I was saying before, I got a new camera. There it is, and the battery went out. These things, it's funny. They're so small, but then they.
But still, the connection and the
No, no,
bridge
no.
is good.
This
That's
this
very,
is magic. Like the fact that I can speak to you in Kiev right now, and I'm in Seattle, different time zone.
Energy, yes.
I have no illusion. There's no like this. 10 years ago would have been like you are tripping on acid right now. That's just not possible.
for our audience that you're having the morning right now, right? And we
Yeah.
have night, like the
Well,
real night.
it's afternoon. It's almost 1 o'clock here, but it's good. But
Midnight here.
thank you, dziękuję bardzo. This is beautiful. I looked up. Congratulations with the new record. A couple of bit of information. I just noticed that on Spotify, you can actually support you through PayPal directly on that. That's a new thing. Also on Bandcamp. There are 3 records out, and look forward to welcoming you back to the United States and spend some time, have a meal, and
Thank
and continue with this. I want to thank Seattle Theater Group and Live out of Bamako. You guys are awesome. And next week we have native indigenous band from the Seattle area called Quick. And let's see, what else did I want to tell you? Oh, just be well, be safe. I tell this to everybody out there. We're still in the middle of this insanity. Please don't get sick, and and continue doing the great work that you're doing. And I look forward to sharing more of it. Okay.
Thank you
Be
so
well.
much, Derek. Big, huge thanks. Дуже дякуємо. Thank to you,
Dziękuję
Derek,
bardzo.
to people of America and people of Ukraine and people of the world. Be happy and healthy, and everything will be fine.
Love, peace, and health for anybody.
Keep in touch.
Oh yeah, absolutely, to all over the world. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Bye.